I'm already strong. I'm already perseverant. I can already do this stuff. Why did I have to go through this too?
I'm so excited to be back. I really am. It's been almost the last time we recorded like another video, a last podcast. It's episode 12 of TheRealestPodcast. Welcome. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like button. Thank you guys so much for streaming on any of the audio platforms that you guys are listening to the podcast. It means a lot to me. It really does. But episode 12, there's the banner as per usual. It's not going to move. At least I hope not. Again, we have another guest today. So there's going to be another photo added onto the wall, the memory wall of all of our guests, all of our lovely guests. And I'm super duper glad to have a guest because I really just, I can't wait to see this wall just full of people. It would be so awesome one day. It's just like a dream of mine, just to have this wall entirely full. You know what I'm saying? Full of people, full of guests, just like ours today. I have no idea where ours is going to go today, but you can expect next episode that there will be another guest on the wall, which is super duper awesome. Again, thank you guys so much for watching episode 12 of the Realest Podcast. We have another guest today, as I've said a million times. She's hiked more mountains than I can count. She's an avid outdoors adventurer, lover of the man upstairs, has more Spotify podcasts than anybody I know, and quite possibly is the definition of perseverance. It is my pleasure in introducing the one and only Julia Armstrong. Woo! Hope you guys are clapping at home as well. Welcome on.
Hello.
I hope you enjoyed the intro. I try and make them the intros is funny but also entertaining as possible.
Yeah,
you know?
I like it. And I was literally just thinking to have that full picture.
Yeah. Right? I mean, even when John, it just looked kind of bland because there's only one photo. But now there's 7 photos.
I mean, it just takes time.
It just takes time. Yeah. I remember our first podcast episode. I really do. And now it's episode 12, and now you're on.
I would hope you remember
it. It is
that long ago, Jared.
Yeah, it is in June, so it's only been 2 months. We're here on episode 12 of the Realest Podcast. I'm glad to have you on. Like I said, you're an avid outdoors lover of Jesus. You obviously have climbed 1 million mountains.
Yes, sir.
You've climbed a lot of mountains.
Not 1 million, actually.
Is there 1 million mountains in the world? I feel like you'd be
I'm
the one
sure
to have
there
the
is.
stat. You'd probably have the stat for that.
I'm not that smart. I'd forget it even if I looked.
Yeah. Maybe it's 999,000, just one short of 1 million.
That'd be kind of sad, honestly.
You were that close, one mountain off.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, welcome on. How's traveling been for the past day?
Oh, for the past, well, I only drove 3 hours yesterday.
That's not bad.
But I just stopped. I was supposed to get new tennis shoes and twin extra long sheets, but that didn't happen because I went and had lunch with a friend instead. So I'm probably going to get it here today.
Okay, good. And so you're heading off to college.
Yes.
How long's the drive from here? 8 hours?
6.
6? Okay.
I think it's 6.5.
Okay, that's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. Because how far is NNU? Is it NNU?
Yes.
From Boise?
From Boise, 40 minutes?
Okay. Yeah, that seems about
Not
right
that
then.
far
Yeah.
at all.
Well, you probably would speed too.
I do my best not to.
You do your best when you're actually conscious of the speed limit. I find myself when I was going down to my Spartan race, it was a 5-hour drive.
Uh-huh.
So I was just I'd go way over the speed limit. But then I'd be, oh crap, okay. And then I'm like, okay, I'll go the speed limit.
I just set my cruise.
I don't have cruise control.
5 over.
Yeah, I don't.
Which is not.
Yeah,
exactly
5's
good,
not
but
bad.
Yeah.
No, but I don't have speed. I don't have cruise control, so it really sucks. So I have to be engaged at all times. So yeah, your
That's
foot kind of.
sad.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about it when I got the car because I really liked the car, and then
Yeah.
it just happened to be that when I started door dashing and started traveling a bit more, I really needed it or wanted it. My old car did, which I was so glad. But I feel like that was the reason that I went to the can because I used it so much in cruise control. I don't know if it.
Is it bad?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because I use it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I just used it. I'd use it on 30s. You know, I just be okay, we're
I
going.
do that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't care.
I feel like it's better because the car knows the gas mileage
Yeah, then it's like
can be more efficient.
Yeah, it's the same 30 miles per hour, 35
Right.
or 40.
When I'm looking at like my miles per
Yeah.
gallon, like changing as I use the gas, I just like it's better when I use cruise control. So I just use it more.
Just more solid. Yeah, I've seen mine go up and down, but mind you, mine doesn't have cruise control, so it kind of sucks. Like that 5-hour drive was just like turn on a podcast and just hopefully look at the speedometer and hope that I'm not going over. Yes. Remember there was one time when I was coming back from the Tri-Cities, I tried hitting 100. Not in that car, though. I reached like 99 and couldn't reach 100.
That's so
Again,
sad.
I know. I was like, you kidding me? I'm like
Poor
one.
little car.
I know. Just one off. Just 1 mile per hour off. Yeah. Because you're still driving, obviously, the Subaru.
Yes, I am in love with my car. It's the best car ever.
Why is that?
Well, my granddad gave it to me, and it was like, just like one that he had, but he didn't need it anymore.
Okay.
But it's like the LL Bean edition, so it's like a little bit nicer,
Okay.
you know? So it's got like the extra big sunroof. It's got like electric seats on both sides. It's got like a 6 CD changer, which I don't really use anymore, but it's cool.
And you don't use it because you obviously listen to Spotify a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really nice. It feels like it's a little bit more specialized. It has a little bit better features. Am I not wrong?
Yeah.
Like
and it's got like the cool little silver band on the side instead of just all gold.
Oh, okay.
Pretty fancy, actually.
Well, and you have like your entire bed like in the back seat.
Yes, I could live out of my car like
you could.
Easy.
Yeah, you could just be like that.
I just put a couple more things in there so I could really like a toothbrush, toothpaste.
Oh, nice. Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just in case if you're like done with a hike and don't want to drive back, you just sleep in your car, drive back the next day. It's kind of nice.
Exactly.
What's been your like hardest hike? What's been like the hardest hike?
Okay, there's 2.
Okay.
And
are they like tied
like,
for top?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure, because we started them. Both of them were like the same amount of time.
Okay.
We both started at like 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
We had a 2-hour drive first.
Oh, gotcha.
But that.
So did you wake up at like 5 and drive, or wake up at 7?
I woke up at 4. We left at like 5.
Okay, it started at that was like okay, gotcha.
And we got back to the car. One of them was like 12:30 a.m.
Oh my.
And the other one was 1:30 a.m.
So 15, 16 hours of just hiking.
Yeah.
Where they at?
They're both. I don't know if you'll know, but like I don't know if you know where Lake Ingalls is.
I don't know. Is it by Leavenworth or that's where you're from? Just so you guys know.
It's actually the opposite direction, so it's over Stevens Pass.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And it's 2 hours that way.
Just climbing the Cascades, huh?
Yes.
For 16 hours.
Yeah. So the one probably that tops it is the Thunder Mountain Lakes. That one was insane.
Okay.
But it wasn't exactly supposed to be so hard. One of my friends was like, "I'm gonna pick the hike this time. You guys always pick it. I have to do it." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "Okay, it's right here. We start on the PCT, which is right at Stevens Pass.
Okay.
Ski resort."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, Megan, I think the map says it's around the corner." And she's like, "No, it's right like PCT. We hike on the PCT." And I was like, "I don't know, Megan. Like it says it's around the corner." And she was like, "No." I was like, okay, like she picked the hike. I trust her. We started to get like 6 miles in because it was supposed to be like 16 miles.
Okay. Just still a lot.
Which is still a lot, yeah. And we got like 6 miles in, 7 miles in. We're like, okay, we should be getting there kind of soon.
Yeah.
Or at least like nearing like a ridge or a top, something. And then we saw this other trail join. And then, like, saw some other hikers, and we're like, hey, like, are we close? How? And they're like, no, we just started hiking, like, a mile or 2 ago. And we're like, I turned to Megan, I was like, bruh, what did you just do?
You hiked 7 miles just to get 1 mile done.
Yeah,
theoretically.
Pretty much,
wow.
Yeah. So, the entire hike ended up being 30 miles.
In total, up and down?
Yeah, so it was like, okay, I'm not going to lie, it was like 29 and a half. But we went down Stevens Pass when we came back, and it was like we were like, we're so close to 30 miles. We have to hike 30 miles. So we just like hiked up a little bit, like on the mountain.
Gotcha.
And just like
to reach
hit 30
the,
miles. We're like, okay.
I feel like this is just like we talked about in the mountains of being 1,000,000, so close. My mileage being so close to like 100, and now you're just so close to 30. Mind you, you actually hit it, so that's pretty cool. That's like a marathon worth of hiking.
We're like, there's no way we're getting this close to. We'll probably like never do that again. In one day for a long time.
Well, and especially go up the wrong trail to add more miles.
Yeah.
So did you come back down the same wrong way, or
yes?
did you go
so
down
we
the
actually
mile?
had the option because we saw someone at the top that was camping and heading
gotcha.
back, and she was like, "You can come back. We'll give you a ride." And we're like, honestly, we're just like those sendy people that just have to do it.
Take the opportunity.
So we're like, no, we're gonna take the 15 miles back. And
gotcha.
What made it really hard, like, was the PCT. Like, most of it we did was on the PCT, which is not the way it's supposed to be. The PCT just goes like up and over mountains, up and down and up and down. So we climbed about 4 mountains. Is like literally, I was going up for like 30, 40 minutes, and then we'd come down for like 40, 50 minutes, and then we go up again and down.
Wow.
It was tough.
That's kind of insane.
That's the thing about it, because when you go back, you're like, oh, just down, and then I'm at my car. But no, we had a whole nother hike ahead because we had to go up and over the mountains again. So that was probably the most insane hike I've ever done.
Well, and you said there was another one tied to that.
Yes.
Was that as extreme, or just up and down really tough?
It was extreme in different ways.
Okay.
Honestly, I was one of my near-death experiences.
Really? Wow.
That was really scary. Anyways.
Your eyes lit up.
Some people probably wouldn't call it a near-death experience because nothing actually happened, but it was genuinely terrifying. I thought I was going to die. But anyway, this was Mount Stewart.
Okay.
Which we did in one day, and usually people backpack that.
One day as in backpack is they would go up and camp and then come back down?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we just did it in one day. It's like 15, 16 miles. But it's so much elevation. I think it's like 5,000. But you take all the elevation when you go up the mountains. You have to go up over a ridge, down this little valley, and then you go straight up the mountain, and it's just like a scramble.
Okay.
Like straight up rocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that
was total 360 views, Glacier Peak, Rainier, like
nice.
Oh my gosh, it doesn't seem real. But
what is like the feeling when after like 16 miles of hiking, you finally reach the top? Like, what is that feeling like?
Well, it was 16 miles total, so it was like, it felt like 16.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even then, like the other one, when you get to the top, well, I guess it probably would have been nighttime at that point. By the time you reach the top of the other.
No, when we reached the top of Thunder Mountain, it was like 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. So, I guess you did start at like 7, so.
Yeah, we were exhausted, and we're like, okay, so we jumped in the lake, and like it's colder up there. Like the sun was out, but it's definitely way colder. We took a nap on a rock, and then headed back. Yeah, that's the thing that we did for both of them. We took naps. Like for Mount Stewart, we went back down the mountain and up to the ridge. We still had to come back down a ways.
Okay.
We took a nap on the top, like just like in the dirt.
Yeah, might as well.
It was great.
Like you're exhausted.
It was like 11 at that point.
Okay.
So we took like 30 minutes, 40 minutes to nap.
Yeah. Well, even then, like, what is the feeling like when you're seeing all these views and obviously up at the top after so long of hiking? Like, what is that feeling like? Is it like, like I'm exhausted, we finally made it, like a long road trip? Or is it like, wow, like I feel like accomplished?
Totally worth it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I have this story to tell now forever. Like,
yeah, that
was awesome. And I see pictures, I look at pictures, and I still, like, can't believe I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, sometimes I'm like, maybe I wasn't in the moment, but then I'm like, no, I definitely was. Like, I was just like, holy crap. And I'd look straight down and be like 4,000 feet drop. Like, I'm like, it just blows my mind.
Because I know you have the one photo, and I don't know if it's from one of the hikes that you went on, the one that you met, the 2 that you mentioned. It was one photo that you had showed me. It was of you just like sitting on like this little rock cliff.
Yeah.
And I think you had, obviously you had people there because somebody took the photo, but it was like one, and you could just see like the entire horizon.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Mount Stewart.
Okay. And that was on
my
that one
gosh.
hike because I imagine you didn't do it again.
Right.
Because I remember you said it was like one of your favorite photos of all time.
Yeah.
Of you just sitting on that rock cliff
Yeah.
and just the entire horizon of Washington.
Yeah.
And then obviously like 4,000 feet of falling.
Yeah, and it's not like other people see the photo, they're like, yeah, that's a cool photo.
Yeah.
But there's so much more behind it that makes it mean so much to me. And I'm like, I know what I'm seeing the other direction. It's a total the other 180 is right in front of me.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me want to do like my goal is to do like Rainier and Baker and just like all like everything.
Do you want to ever go to like big mountains that are like Mount Kilimanjaro or like even Mount Everest? Like, is it that type that you want to go to at a certain point, or is it still like just like these more adventure hikes that you could just get like backpacking?
If I get the opportunity, that would be so cool. I don't know what my future's gonna look like.
Sure.
I don't know what I'll be doing, where I'll be,
Yeah.
what kind of money I'll have to travel and do all that. I think that would be totally cool.
But if the opportunity does arise, you would definitely take it.
Totally.
Because I know there's obviously some training that involves some of these, mountains. Obviously, you're coming off like 2 big injuries.
Yes.
Well, I guess like 1 big injury, but like,
one big leg injury and
Yeah.
then the other one's like, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, because it's already happened. You've kind of gone through it. So when I mentioned earlier on for the folks listening and watching, when I was talking about like perseverance as like a whole of like you just being like the definition of it, again, it's just like that photo. Like it doesn't really describe what has gone on, like you basically just see like one point in time and that's it. You don't really get the experience. You don't know what it was like to climb that mountain. And for you had injured, what did you injure your freshman year of college?
I tore my labrum in my shoulder.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And
so you tore your labrum, which kind of obviously put you out of track and pole vaulting, which is the event that you do for people that are wondering. And so you tore your labrum, so that kind of like put you on IR for a bit. Yeah. But then COVID hit, so it didn't really matter. Yeah. It was kind of nice, it was like, okay, well, like I'm not the only one like not doing track. Mm-hmm. But then we come back this year, and it's December, if I'm not wrong. When did it happen? What month? February. Okay, so because we're inside. Yeah. So February, you're at pole vault practice. Just take us through what had happened. Share whatever you want, because I know it's obviously like a traumatic, possibly.
Also, like, I don't know, when people talk about knee injuries in front of me, like, without asking first, they're like, oh my gosh, my friend had a knee injury, like, and then tell me the story, and I'm, like, having flashbacks. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, just a warning. Yeah. Because
just a warning, everybody.
I don't know, it can trigger.
Yeah.
Basically, I was, like, doing really good. The last few practices, I had been going over, like, 12 feet plus. Yeah. Which is, like, pretty good. Like, I was really excited, and we were nearing season. We had, like, 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think that was about right.
Before our first meet.
Yeah.
And I was just on fire that practice. I was like, okay. And then it was so funny because Lainey, my roommate, was like, right before she left, she was like, you make it a good practice. And then she left, and I kept vaulting, and I took, like, 1 good vault. Then I went back and did it again. And so I had, like, it was my full run, full force of the sprint, which is a lot of force.
Yeah. Especially when you're trying to get over the pole.
Right, yeah.
And in this case,
you literally have to jump.
I guess you could run through it. Like, in this case, you didn't attempt to go up.
Right. In this case, so I went down the runway, like, with my pole, and then, like, half took off, and I was like, no, because I think either I don't know if my grip's up, but I let go and, like, ran through. So it was something that I'd done a million times. Yeah. Just running through onto the pit. Yeah. But there's this big crack in it. I think that's why. That plus the force. Yeah. But basically my leg hit the pit on a straight leg and kind of went straight out to the side. So I tore my MCL, which was the worst. Okay. My ACL totally, and my meniscus.
Anything else?
I damaged my PCL, but that one was fine.
Wow. That's
I
like
dislocated my kneecap.
it's like about as everything as you can like tear or hurt in your knee, if I'm not wrong.
Ow.
Yeah, like ACL, MCL is probably the top two. Anything else is just like it salt on wounds. Like it's
Yeah.
like that's a lot. And so like
I had multiple doctors tell me that it was the worst they'd ever seen. And I was like, cool.
and saying like sports as a whole is like it's pretty common.
Yeah.
So like diagnosing stuff like that is very common for people, like doctors that is. So like to say that it's like the worst injury is like did it feel heartbreaking? Like it's like ugh, or is it just like wow, like I just like really shattered my knee?
To be honest, I don't really remember.
Is it so shocking, you know, at the same time?
I was definitely still in a little bit of shock.
Yeah.
I was like, I just changed my whole year, like everything.
Like everything that you had worked for, it just feels like it's again. Well, like even like last year, the year before that is, you know, you worked up until you got like your surgery.
Yeah.
And then it just feels like everything is down the drain. Maybe not all for nothing, but it just feels like it's down the drain. And
that was the summer before my sophomore year of college. That was when I had worked the hardest. I consistently lifted and ran.
Yeah.
I never got out of shape.
Yeah.
I stayed in shape so that like I could have a good season and I could focus on the technique instead of just getting in shape.
Yeah.
And then to have that happen, I was like, oh, okay.
It's like face and palms for like 30 minutes. Like, it's just like why?
Probably longer.
Yeah. And so, like, obviously, like, you've devoted yourself, you're a religious person. So is that like when you feel like that moment coming up, like when it does happen, like, is there any questioning to, like, you're like, why? Is there like a why? Like, are you asking?
Definitely a little bit. Yeah. I was like, I had a lot of like frustration where I was like, I'm already strong. I'm already perseverant. I can already do this stuff. Why did I have to go through this too?
Yeah.
Why did I have to, I don't know. It was just a little frustrating, but then I was like, okay, Julia, this is it. Next challenge. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's get better. You're not dead.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that simple, obviously. I had a lot of mental things to work through.
Yeah.
But
it definitely seems like a tough, like, especially when you've gone through it so many times, you know? Like, it felt like it was just so redundant, but the extreme just kept being more and more. You know, you had your shoulder, you probably, you know, maybe like a tweak here in the ankle just from like twisting it, but like nothing that's like super severe. You know, it just takes its time, easy, and something so with a lot of weight, you know, happens, and it just feels like everything that you worked for again just feels like it got unplugged, you know?
Yeah, and it wasn't even about like track, like being like you said redundant, but it wasn't even like the second time that something had happened. It was like, no, for the first time I had just killed my track season, my like my bonding with my friends, my summer, my hiking, my climbing. Like I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do any of it.
Yeah.
For like months and months and months. And they told me my recovery was gonna be a year, and I was like, all right.
And here you are 6 months later, being able to walk, hike.
Yeah.
You got to be proud
I've
for
been
yourself.
Climbing too.
You really got to give yourself like a pat on the back to be able to cut like that year, which feels like it's so long, like into half, you know, like you started walking in May.
4 weeks after April 6th, so like mid-May.
Okay. And that was when you were like off crutches.
Yeah, so I had my surgery April 16th, and then I had 4 weeks on crutches.
Okay.
So I started walking like May.
Yeah, just
May
like
15th or something.
Yeah, like right as we had the barbecues type stuff, or like that last meet. Yeah, and then so you're off crutches, still in the knee brace. Mm-hmm. Now you're off it. When did you get off that?
In June.
Okay, like not long after.
At my last appointment in June, like June 18th or something.
They just said take it off, or say you're good.
He was like, you don't have to be in this brace. He asked me if I wanted a different brace, and I was like, I don't know. Do I need another brace? And he was like, honestly, I don't know. I think you're fine. And so I don't have a brace right now, but I think I'm going to work on getting one.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning at my appointment.
Oh, nice. Where is your appointment? Like, how does that work? Because you're like down in the college.
tomorrow morning. So first I'm going to the appointment and then we're leaving.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm staying another night.
Oh,
here.
okay. I thought you were either traveling down today or tomorrow, because your appointment is it's in Spokane, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So it just kind of worked out. I guess it was probably planned.
Well, I scheduled it for that time.
That makes sense. I'm like acting like, oh wow, it just like really worked out. Are you excited for college?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it like? Like, what was the whole transfer process like? I guess I kind of went through it, but like, I didn't fully do it. Well, I guess you still haven't fully do it.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, because it's like it feels like it's just a part of everything else that you've done. You know, you're obviously a busy person. You work, you hike, you lift. Like everything, like almost everything you do is like something that's meaningful. You're not like sitting down,
watching movies.
Yeah. And not to say that anybody that sits down and watches movies or TV
right.
is not doing something meaningful, but more or less something that you've already done and continue to do, you know? So like, I feel like I can see where it get muddled in between everything. You know, you just like fill out an application, put it in, it comes back. You're like, okay, do I want to go to that college? Sure. You know.
And that was like my last quarter of school as well. So I was like, it was just like, I had it on my to-do list, but it was like one thing at a time, like you said. So it just kind of went in between. The most frustrating like part that was probably finding like where I was going to stay, because I had multiple plans fall through for living off campus. So
Yeah. So are you living off campus?
I'm living on campus in an apartment with 2 girls.
Okay. Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've like FaceTimed them a couple times. I know them.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you FaceTime Alma and Lainey before you like call it all?
Yeah.
Before you got to Spokane?
Yeah. There's like one time when Alma couldn't, and so I just FaceTimed Lainey.
Yeah.
And that was really funny because I was at like a family reunion. And then I think we FaceTimed one time after that, but I don't remember anything about what we talked about.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's so long. That's like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's like a really long time ago. To like, I guess, I mean, if it was like a very like memorable, like something happened, like sure, but like, I get what you're saying. Where it's like, you know, you did, but the context is kind of hard to understand. Yeah, because I remember even then, like, was it weird moving in with like new people? Like you kind of knew, kind of didn't know.
Yeah.
And now you got to go through it kind of again. But like with more under your belt because you've already done it. Like,
right.
So like hopefully that goes well, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I definitely feel like more ready.
Yeah. More prepared. Well, especially back then you were so young. You were 17 going into college.
Yeah.
So like
that's true.
So like it feels like you like, I mean, if you were 8, I guess even if you're 18, I guess I don't know what that difference would be, but like I guess time just tells, you know, like how you respond to things, especially like you're definitely more mature for your age because you're still 19.
Yeah.
So like even when you're like 17, even that growth between 2 years is still a lot.
Oh yeah. Like every moment I'm growing, and that's like something that is on my mind a lot. I'm like, how can I be better?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely different. I also feel like these roommates that I will have are like pretty outgoing.
Okay.
So it won't be too hard to like get to like, I don't know, not to say anything about Lainey and all.
No.
But we were all like, I was super quiet then. It was just not as quick of a click. Like
yeah, it definitely took some time because even then when I like came over for the first time, it didn't feel like you guys were all like best friends, you know? It just felt like you were we are, like, it just felt like you were roommates, you know, and that was kind of it. Like even when I first came over, like I knew Alma the most, and then you probably second because we had class together.
Right.
And like we would just talk at practice. I didn't know Lainey too much, but like obviously again, it just comes with time. And so, like, I knew Alma the most. And then it even felt like Alma wasn't, like, I mean, Alma's Alma, where she's not, like, super duper. She doesn't go out of her way to say hi all the time. It's, like, kind of, like, you have to open the door for her and kind of, like, let her into the conversation. It's a little
different.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, even back then, like, you can, it seems kind of obvious. You know, she's kind of the more reserved person. You know, so, like, again, you kind of have to open the door for conversation with her because she's not always going to do it. You know, so like even then, like you said, it's a lot different now where back then, 2 years ago, we're all kind of still figuring out what to do and how to navigate college. Lainey had already had a year in college, so she kind of knew the social aspect of it, but it's just way different with new people, Like, it's just definitely different with new people. And, like, I said this with, what podcast did I say this with? I want to say I said it with Bert, where I might have actually said this in a solo podcast. I don't remember. There was a time, like, it feels like when you go to college and do sports, I've been doing track for a long time as well as you. You've had teammates come and go, but for the most part, you have a pretty solid core people that you graduated with, went to not college, you went to school with for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when you go to college, like, most of your friends probably aren't there, and it feels like a new slate, like, and it just felt kind of weird for me going into college because it's like, yeah, I'm a social butterfly, but, like, at the same time, there's also people that I don't know. And I'm like, am I going to give like the wrong impression? Am I going to like say the wrong thing? Because like, I feel comfortable saying it with my friends, but they might react to it in a whole different way.
And you don't want people, I don't know. Like, I've definitely care a lot less. I barely care what people think anymore. But like, I don't want people to perceive me as worse than I am, or like take something the wrong way. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. I feel like a lot of people say that I am really mean, but that's just like if anything mean ever came out of my mouth, it's a joke. Like, it's like genuinely a joke. Like, and my friends know that, but sometimes I'll do that too fast with other people, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Like, I don't know.
I guess there's a good structure with it, kind of like just slowly working up. Like, there's a good progression to where you're like, okay, Julia's joking, like I'm joking. Like, you understand that. Whereas like some people too fast, it feels like it's so accelerated. And it's like, oh, how am I supposed to take that? Like, are you joking?
I usually start with something like super obvious.
Yeah. And I think that's always good to do.
You're stupid. Like, obviously you're not stupid.
Yeah. Or like even to somebody that you kind of know, like even like your roommates, you like, that's like, oh, okay. Like, they live together. Their relationship's a little bit ahead of like some of the other people in this group of newbies, and like, well, even then it's so hard. Well, it's not hard. It's just different because the second years already know each other. So like, even when we went to our second year, we all know each other. We all kind of know what's good. Do you remember our first day of practice, our freshman year?
I remember the first day seeing everyone, and I was like, ah.
I remember, I'll never forget when Monica was like, hey, freshies, are you guys ready for your first day? I'm like,
oh.
Like,
Monica is like the first person that I met.
Yeah. Really. I think, well, I knew Matt because we went to high school together.
Oh.
I knew Jabril because we competed against each other. So like, I knew them. So it was kind of nice, like I knew some familiar faces. Monica I'd also met for my visitation, and so I kind of knew her. And there was a few people that were at the visitation, but they were second year, so they left. So they were gone.
Right.
Who else? I'm going to feel bad if I forget anybody, but that's just who I remember. Sorry, second year or third years,
Oh,
Yeah, it was a weird experience to say the least. But even then, like when we moved to college, like that's just it. Like you
kind of just. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I'll never forget the conversation with Lainey. So it was at the team meeting that we had, like prior to practice, and we had to sign all the papers and whatnot. And I was like, I just like kind of sat down. I was like the second one there. It was Mackenzie, Linda, and myself. So those Mackenzie and Linda were already there. I showed up. I don't think anybody else was there yet. It was just those two, and then I showed up. And I kind of talked to Mackenzie and Linda and blah, blah, blah. And then as we kind of all get there, it's kind of once everybody got there, Lainey was sitting like not across from me. She was sitting like one off. And I was like, oh, like, where are you from? She's like, oh, where's she from again? I don't want to mess up. Okay, so she said, I was like, I'm from Homedale. And I'm like, oh, like, she's like, you probably don't. I'm like, I think I do. And I'm like, I guess somewhere so random. And like, I'll never forget that conversation. Like, of like, she's like, you probably don't know what it is. I'm like, oh, I think I know what it. I'm like,
no, sir.
You don't.
No, you actually don't.
No, you do not know where it is. I want to say I mistaken it for, there's an Oakdale, and like on the way to Pullman, you kind of like
Yeah.
see a whole bunch of signs there. And I remember we had like it was really weird. Their dual meet got like canceled, so they added themselves into our like dual meet. So it was like a
Gotcha.
tri meet, but it was only the dual meet between us and Cheney, and they were just
Nice.
there.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's. I want to say at the time I was like, oh, that's probably that, but it was not it.
Nope.
It was not it.
Way off.
I'll never forget our first conversation. You remember the trail that leads down to the hill? That like
Yes.
long, like where we used to do hills.
Yes,
So-
I do know. Yeah.
so that
I was
trail-
just trying to think about what
Yeah.
our first conversation
Yeah.
was.
So I don't remember like the full context of it, but I'll never forget when, I want to say we got back up after the run because there wasn't too many people there at the time. Because I remember Thomas, he has asthma, so I remember he was struggling at the very end or like
Gotcha.
running a whole lot. And so I remember when we came up the hill and I remember like, oh, are you in like Mary's class? Like our accounting professor. And I remember just like approaching you and just like, oh, do you like the class? Like, yeah, it's good. I'm like, oh, I was just kind of like just saying how the class was. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget that conversation. Mind you, I don't know the full context of like what we talked about, but I'll never forget that though. Like when we were talking on like the little road there that was like leading down to the
Yeah.
thing. And I don't know if I don't really remember now that I think about it, if we were going down or just coming up. I want to say it was once we came up, but I'll never forget. That was our first conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed because I did not remember that.
It's a long time
I
ago.
remember like the first time I talked to you talking about class, but I don't remember where, when.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I don't know why either. It was more or less like, oh, that's a familiar face.
Yes.
Like, yeah, because you sat
Hi.
on the other side of the class. All that
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah, that was a fun class. I enjoyed that class. Mary's a
Yeah.
great teacher.
She is a good teacher.
She's a great teacher. And then we went through some other classes. We only had 2 classes together, no? Was it just accounting 1 and 3?
Well,
201
no,
and 203?
MIS.
That's it.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Got it. Light bulb.
Yeah. Well, we also had so we had 3 classes. We took all of our accounting classes the first way through,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
winter we
4
did.
classes
yeah.
together. Wow.
No, we didn't do 2. We didn't do accounting 202 together.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So we did 1 and 2, and then MIS.
3
So we had 3.
classes.
Who would have thought? Yeah. I'll never forget. Do you remember when we were COVID times and we're like online and we're on Zoom?
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this.
We're
Oh,
on Zoom and
Good.
I had a headset on and it was my gaming headset. So I had a little like mic.
The whole
and s-
class was on Zoom.
Yeah, the
Just so
whole
you
class.
know.
Yeah, it was like so the context was Mary's like giving like lectures, probably asking questions. And I remember like saying something before this and Jesse Reyes' new album came out and it was a great album. There's a few good songs. And I knew that if I put the headset down, I'd be unmuted. Like you can actively hear me. So I'd put it up and then unmute myself. So like you couldn't hear if this were up
Right.
and I was
Oh,
unmuted.
yeah.
So this had gone down because I had talked. It got real quiet. Jesse Reyes' new song came on. She all on my dick. Like.
And I heard it come through, and I was like, that was definitely Jared. And then Mary was like,
Who is
Jared?
singing that? Well, because she didn't say who it was. She was like, who's that singing? And I was like, oh, that's really odd. Like, who is that singing? Oh, God. Oh, God.
I would have just not said anything, but you were like, oh, that was me. I'm sorry. At the end of class, I was like, I don't think anyone knew. I just knew your voice. That was really
I'll
funny.
never forget that. And luckily enough, because this probably would have like damaged me mentally of just like never wanting to show myself up in public because I didn't have anyone's faces on because I was just like working and like doing other things. So I didn't have like Zoom pulled up.
Right.
I just had like the little like pull out that was just like Mary, whoever the active talker was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see anybody's faces and I was just chilling there. I'm like, I wonder who is singing. I'm like, oh, and then I turn over to the Zoom and it says, you've been muted by administrator. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way that was me. I'm like, that was me. And then we were Snapchatting at the time during the class And
Yeah.
I was like, and then you like, you like
was like,
said like, oh my
Jared.
god, I was like, this thing, I'm dying laughing, blah blah blah, and I'm like, there's no way, like I let that happen. I let that slide. I'm like, I'm singing in class.
That's one thing I was like, that's never happening. That whole time when we were on Zoom, I was like, that's never happening to me. I'm not forgetting to ever do that.
Yeah, it was
It's
tough.
just funny when it happens to someone you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good class though. I really enjoyed that class. It was a fun class. MIS was a fun class. I enjoyed that class.
I didn't like that class.
Was it just because of the topic that you picked?
Partially. I just didn't like it.
Yeah. I guess it was
It's just kind of boring.
it's interesting.
I love how you said interesting at the same time I said boring.
Seems like we had two different experiences throughout this.
And that's why I changed my major. You didn't
What-
know that?
No, what did you change it to?
I'm psychology.
Okay.
I'm going to get into counseling, and I'm also minoring in business and
Oh,
communications.
okay.
But
'Cause I was gonna say, I'm just gonna like wash that to the side for like the 2
no,
years
I'll
that
get
you've
my
done.
minor because I have so many prereqs done. So.
Okay, so you're
It'll
gonna
be
still
quick.
like complete that minor for like a
Yeah.
year. That's nice. What made you get into like psychology?
The psychology classes I took, I was like,
Oh,
tell me more.
tell me more.
I literally couldn't get enough
Yeah.
information, and I had a really good teacher too.
That was in the same building, right? In St. Wayman? That was at
Yeah.
the very top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't at the top.
Oh. Was it?
On the ground floor,
Oh.
in like the auditorium thing with the level.
Oh, that's nice.
That was fancy.
Wow. Have you, so you're going to NNU. This is like the next like thing that you're doing. So you're going to go major in psychology, minor in business and communication. Have you toured yet?
No, but I
Okay.
have a lot of friends there. I have a lot, some people would say that's stupid, but I don't think
Yeah,
it's
like
good.
it just,
I still like it.
you get a virtual tour.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, like it's probably more accessible. Like-
And it's better than Spokane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the area. I don't know. I think it'll be
Because what city is it in? Or town?
Nampa.
Nampa? Yeah, not
Nampa.
too far.
But we got Boise nearby, and we got
Yeah.
like Sawtooth National Forest, and like I don't know.
Only
We
you would
got
know.
They're like kind of far away, but
They're like,
we can make it.
yeah. Yeah, well, and like it's not like uncommon for you to just like drive 2 hours
Right.
to go
Haha.
to go hike. So that's nice.
And we
Like
got the lake, I think, and like
think.
I don't know.
there's a
It'll be
lot
good.
of stuff to do down there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll have friends
Yeah.
do it.
Roommates, friends,
Yeah.
new friends,
Yes.
the unknown. That'd be fun. Yeah. Are you like excited to go down? Are you nervous to go down? Like, is it just like,
Mostly excited.
okay.
I was nervous for like a couple weeks, like a long time ago, but then I was like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why be nervous? I'm just gonna go and do what I need to do and have
Yeah.
fun, and
That's it.
it'll be great.
Yeah. I always feel like when we went to, not we, but like when I went to leadership camp, like I wasn't nervous only because I knew everyone was in the same boat, which kind of feels weird and kind of seems like opposite of what it would be, because then it's like we all kind of like expect something, meaning like for context, like everyone there, if you're a second year, or I'll relate this back to like track. Like when our first like practice of college, all the second years kind of know what to expect. They all know each other. Our first years, we were all kind of like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Kind of like that. So like
Yeah.
all of the first years are kind of in the same boat because we don't really know everyone. Whereas like the second years kind of know what to expect. They understand, like they know each other. They'll kind of be the guide. That's kind of what leadership camp was like. Not fully, but
Yeah.
the people that have been there kind of know what it's like there. And the first years are kind of like, oh, like I never thought I would cry this much.
Well,
I never thought like this 6-day camp would be so enthralling and so like emotionally driven, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a weird feeling. Like it's really unreplicatable.
It's cool, though.
Like it's a really cool experience. So like my first year, like yeah, it's kind of like nerve wracking, but we're like all in the same boat. Like all these people are in the same boat. We understand that like judgment is just kind of fallen to the wayside, you know? Like it doesn't really matter where you're from, who you've interacted with. Like, we're all there for one semi-common goal, and that's just to, like, learn more about leadership and how can we be better leaders as a vision. And so when we actually get to, like, the camp itself, we don't really realize what we're about to get ourselves into. Yeah. You know, we hear so many great things about it, but we have no idea what we signed up for. We just know that we're going for a 6-day trip to the middle of nowhere where we have, like, literally no cell reception, and we're stuck with, like, 300 other people at this camp. And that's what we get for 6 days. And then we go back, and then we're like, wow, I wish I was there, like, forever, you know? Like, we go, like, wishing that we wanted to leave after the first night, and then after 6 nights, we never want to leave. Yeah. That's, like, the weird flip-flop of...
That's the best. That's the way it's supposed to be, honestly. Yeah. That's just shows that you're growing in those 6 days. Yeah. If you went from not wanting to be there to wanting to stay, that's... Yeah. Just shows that you're growing and that it's a good thing. So.
Yeah. And that's, like, probably the most, like, extreme of it all, where, like, people are like, I don't really want to, like, go. Like, think about it like the kid in class that, like, never pays attention to, like, the lectures and is just kind of, I just don't really want to be here, like, type thing. And then, like, that person goes to leadership camp and then never wants to leave. Yeah. You know, like, that's what it's like even at the most, but, like, funnel that down and most people are just like, wow. Like, I'm about to go change the world forever, you know? And that's, like, it's such a crazy feeling. It's, like I said, so unmatchable that, like, you can't fabricate it. You can't just be like, oh, like, let's try and simulate it, you know? Like, even when we had, like, remember the field day that we had where we had, like, the Coach Spatz's, like, YMCA people? Yeah. It was when we were in the gym. And we did a whole bunch of, like, stuff. We put, like, a tail tag, and we did a whole bunch of, like, building exercises.
Just, like, the team building
day? Team building day. Yeah, so it was, like, that day. Like, that is probably, like, 2% of what we do. Yeah. Like, even that, it's kind of fun. You kind of, like, oh, like, yeah, like, you know, like, it's fun, and you kind of want to keep doing it. It's a little awkward at first, obviously, but it becomes a little bit more involved with everybody. And so, like, it's really weird because, like, we do, like, a lot of obstacle course stuff. We do, like, a lot of team building. We do, like, a lot of problem solving. Like, and we just kind of have to, like, some people, like, my first year, I was a little vocal. My second year, I was a little reserved and taken back. Not in a bad way, but I wanted to let the people who haven't experienced something so exciting like this experience it. You know, like, I can't be like, well, this is how it happened last year. And that's how it was for, like, a day. I was just like, I need to, like, let them breathe and let them, like, experience it for themselves. Yeah.
Because, like you said, you can't replicate that. You can't be like, here's what it feels like. Yeah. And I don't know. I think, like, that's literally the case with everything. Like, every experience you've ever had, you can't replicate that or explain it or have somebody learn that lesson through you. Like, you can help them experience it, but, like, they can't really learn it unless they've gone through it themselves.
Yeah, it's more or less like guiding them, you know, like like a tour guide, like in a museum, you know, like we have no idea what happened 400 years ago. We cannot experience that. We can kind of understand, but since that was 400 years ago and this is now, we have the option and ability to do that, where we can live in the moment and live like it's our only time to live, you know? Like, it's so weird learning about, like, history and being like, wow, like, they did that? Like, they low-key did that? They built the pyramids? Like, it's really weird. Just, it's not weird, but it's just so captivating to, like, think that, like, there was one ruler in, like, a certain area of the world who was like, we are going to build this. Yeah. And, like, we have no idea if anybody, like, wanted to, like, be like, no, that's not happening. This will never happen. We have no idea what the backlash or anything like that was, you know? Like, but then we, like, see a pyramid and we witness it today and we're like, well, it got done, but we don't know what everything in between was like. Yeah. You know, we just know what the result is and nothing in between. And, like, that could have taken 80 years. That's, like, an entire lifetime. Oh, yeah. For us. It's so insane. And, like, even like now, like, things like in, like, Sydney, Australia, like the Sydney Opera House. amazing. The Burj Khalifa,
Yeah.
you know, like those are like monumental feats.
Great Wall of China.
Right?
What?
Right? Mind you, regardless of what went on in the making process, that is amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Man, that'd be so cool to walk one day. The Great Wall of China.
I want to go there.
Be dope. Didn't you say you wanted to go to Australia at one point? Is that like your dream location?
Yes. No, well,
One
I
of-
have a million dream locations.
That's- yeah.
I want to travel so much.
Yeah.
It's sad.
But it's also
yeah.
exciting at the same time.
Yes. I just feel like there's a whole different world down there, and I want to experience it. I love cultures and, like,
Yeah.
being immersed in different cultures and seeing how other people do things. Like, that's the coolest thing to me. What's normal to us is totally strange to other people.
Yeah. Like as Western society is so different than like
Oh, yeah.
like in the Mediterranean, you know, like
Yep.
like I was watching a video yesterday or last night. I was like going to bed at like 2 and I like watched a video on Half as Interesting. I really like watching these like semi-educational but like very curiosity piquing videos. And it's like what is it about like binomial sleep? And bi meaning 2 periods of sleep. And so it's like a 4-hour period of sleep, up for like an hour to 3 hours, and then another 4-hour period of sleep, and then up for the rest of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, like they do it a lot over in Europe, where they like what they call like a siesta.
Yeah.
So that's like your midday nap.
And
That's
they
like
just don't sleep as much at night.
yeah. So like they'll be
Interesting.
like they'll probably 1 to 4, 2 to 5, 2 to 6.
Yeah.
And so like think about that. And there was one person that like looked up old like translated Greek and Latin and looked up like old Charles Dickens like works where they would mention like the first sleep.
Oh.
So that
Yeah.
and then they'd mention like a second sleep. So it's like there was something back then that was so common where you'd, sleep for 4 hours, be up for a few, sleep for 4 hours, and then be up for the rest. It's weird to think about because it doesn't make sense for us because we go to bed and wake up
Yeah.
and that's
then
it.
Just like the number of things that are like weird for different people, like the number of differences in all the different cultures,
Yeah.
endless.
Well, not
Just
even
like-
to mention what you learned in one of your classes when you were telling me up at Chelan. Yeah.
About Japan. Like when I did that whole project on Japan, I was like, this is so cool. Like I have to go there now.
Do you want to explain what that's like? I've already heard this, but like, what is that like? Like learning so many different ways that they characterize certain things. Like how many characters do they have in their language? I don't know.
Alphabet.
Alphabet.
They have
That's
3
it.
separate alphabets. 2 of them each have 46 characters. I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember.
The third language has like 8,000.
8,000 nationers. 8,000.
Like we have 26.
Yes.
Just saying that. We have 26. They have like 8,080.
That is
Yeah.
it's an astronomical amount. Like, well, and
I mean, maybe it's a little different because those represent ideas
yeah,
and
they
like,
use it a different
multiple
way.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really different.
Even then, like you put
But
something
it's still
together,
hard.
like I was saying when we were at Lake Chelan, like when you put one character and another character or one word and another word together, like individually they mean like that, but together they mean something different.
Yep.
I was talking about
So
the
you can
Ariana
have, like-
Grande
Yeah.
tattoo that she had that was like 7 rings but meant like black stove,
Yeah, it was
Tough. That's tough.
Sucker. that was funny though.
But like even like that, like that is so insane. So like what do they how do you it just seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot.
I was like watching videos of these adults that were like, or like they just stopped people on the street, and some people were in like business suits. There's like some
Okay.
girls that were still in high school. There's like a bunch of different ages, different lifestyles, and like what? How do you write this word? This it's called kanji.
Okay.
Is the language
Yeah.
and or the alphabet, and they were like, oh, I actually don't know that one. I don't know that one. And then they were like, mess up because like you have to just put all the different characters together. So I don't know. It's just funny because even they don't know them all.
Yeah, and I don't even know how one comes up with that. You know,
they took it. Well, they didn't take it, but they
like where did they derive it from?
The Chinese language.
Where did the
But
Chinese?
Where did the Chinese get it?
Like it had to start with something.
I don't know.
Like ours is obviously like Latin. You know, like we kind of took the general concept of it.
Yeah, but that like those two different origins. Like we have the letters. The letter H doesn't mean anything. Like
yeah, it has
just
no
a letter.
significance.
But
yeah,
the letters in Japanese, each of them mean something on their own, and so it's easier to make different words and put them together because I don't know. And I mean, like, I'm not an expert. I feel like I shouldn't really be talking about it because I don't
but
really
like
know
it's
that much.
yeah, no, but even then it's like you know more than I do, and you probably know more than like anyone watching, unless they're from Japan or have learned Japanese. And so like even then it's still really exciting, and like when you were saying like culture and like traveling the world, like it's a whole different world, you know? Like have you ever traveled outside of the United States?
Yeah, my family is from Germany, and
okay.
so I've been to Germany, I've been to France, Canada, Mexico.
Okay.
I traveled quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. How old were you when you traveled to Germany?
I've been there 3 times.
Okay.
I think we're trying to go in the next couple of years, actually.
Oh, nice.
Which would be really cool.
The whole family or just like
me and my mom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time I went, I was like 10 or 12.
Okay. Yeah. So it's still like young, but like it's like wow, like it's like Disneyland, you know, but like so different.
Yeah.
You're like wow, like everything's so fun and cool. You know, you don't really understand.
I wasn't at a maturity level where I could embrace the culture.
Yeah.
And see the culture. For
you
what
enjoy
it was.
culture, but not like embrace it. Like
well, and it wasn't just like it wasn't like this is how people live. It was like oh, this is like a different place.
Oh, like these streets are made out of like cobblestone, you know? Like, oh, that's cool, you know, like pavement. Wow.
That's just like normal.
Yeah. Like you just kind of like look at things like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. You want to go to the candy shop? Sure, yeah. Like stuff like that. Like you said, where the maturity level where you can really fully embrace it wasn't quite there at 10.
And like I really got that appreciation over the last couple of years.
Like,
in my maturity and in my like especially that communications class was really it was intercultural communication.
Gotcha.
So that was like I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah. And so like
cool.
Do you get your German side from your mom or your dad? Okay.
Dad. Yeah, my grandma was full German.
Is she the one is it that one?
The one that was mentally ill.
That one, yes.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
That would be her.
Okay.
She could play the piano beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not even to mention, like, you play the violin / played.
Yeah.
It's not like an active thing.
Yeah.
Because you took lessons ever since you were super young, right?
Yeah.
How old were you when you started?
5. Wow.
That's insane.
Little baby Julia was like,
doing like, when did you start lessons?
When I was 5.
Okay. Because, I guess that makes sense. Did you join the school orchestra?
We didn't have an orchestra.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me this. So you just did lessons for like 10 plus years?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes like a couple summers I did like a summer orchestra. But
okay. Like more with like other people from different schools, I'm assuming?
Oh, yeah.
Like a camp type thing?
It was like camp, yeah.
Gotcha. Did you enjoy that? Oh, no, you didn't play the violin. You played the viola because I remember we played the same instrument, right?
Nope.
You played the violin?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, Jared.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
What I guess I would have like I don't know why I thought the viola because I thought we played the same thing. I played the viola.
I played the violin.
Yeah. Well, then I would have.
Yeah.
I don't know why I corrected myself when you didn't correct me. So I should have just picked up on that.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, because I played the viola, you played the violin. That's like something that we bonded. Cool. Yeah, it bonded us pretty early on.
I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and then we also. It was weird. There was a moment in time where we're like, our favorite food. I don't know if yours has changed.
There's like a whole bunch of stuff.
Like that was like very, very similar.
Who is this guy?
And mind you, we live 3 hours away, so like we did not know each other before college, And I remember there was one day that I was over at I'm not going to say the rest, but I was over at the apartment, and I don't know how we got into like the conversation, but I remember we talked about like our favorite food, which is yellow curry.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't know if yours has changed because it's been like a year and a half, but mine has not changed. Mine is still yellow curry.
Me too.
And I think I have mine with jasmine rice.
Yeah, I love jasmine rice.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Do you put yours with anything else?
Just rice?
Just, yeah.
Well, I mean, I have
like what type of rice?
veggies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Of jasmine rice is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have my 25-pound bag from Costco. I still have it.
Wow.
After like 2 years. year and a half.
That's a lot of rice.
Yeah, we're getting down to like the lower eighth, so it's getting there.
Nice.
And then also our biggest fear was, I mean, most people's biggest fear is usually like spiders or snakes or heights. Ours was not.
No.
Ours was like not being successful.
Yeah, I think that's changed for me.
And something along that wavelength. What's your biggest fear?
Well, I don't really have one anymore.
You just gonna live life in a moment?
I literally don't. Like, I feel like I had one that I replaced it with, but
yeah,
I can't remember it. So it must not have been that.
Yeah, and it wasn't something you kept for long, so I can understand where you'd forget it.
Yeah, I don't really.
I obviously know heights are not your fear.
Probably like losing. No, because I'm not.
Like losing a loved one?
I literally don't have a fear anymore.
Were you losing like
I was gonna say like losing someone, but
it's also inevitable at the same time. Yeah, like it at one point it will happen. Whether that I mean, even you grew up and that was like the case, you know?
Yeah.
With your father, you know, like you lost a loved one pretty early on. So then, like, it's not like you become numb to it, but like you understand.
I know how to deal with it.
Yeah, you understand that it is a process. Yeah. And at one point, you know, a loved one will move on into another life, however that may be, you know, because that may be this or that. I won't mention any specifics of anything.
Yeah.
But however it happens, you know, and it feels. I think the more you ponder it, the easier it becomes. You know, like when it's so unexpected, you're like, oh wow. But like, I guess if there's like some little build up, you know, like if you ever like heard of like family or not family, but like people's family where like their family had like terminal cancer, you know, like you understand at some point within this next 6 months, they're going to pass, you know? So you kind of come to terms with it a little bit early on, whereas like say something happens like so fast and it's like, I didn't get to say goodbye type thing. So it becomes a really, really weird like thought, you know? I don't know if my fear has changed. I think it's just taken less of a toll. Yeah. Like I think it's more or less like there's a Russ lyric. We both really like Russ, by the way. And there's one lyric, I don't know what song it's in. I think it's in Gone. And I'm gone. And so I think there's one lyric, it's like, I play against the idea of me losing. Like, that's like what drives him. It's not because of your success that drives me. It's like the idea of me losing that drives me.
That's cool.
He's amazing. He's really good. He's really good. Who are you listening to these days? Everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like one artist. It's like a playlist that I made of like a million different artists. So, I don't know.
There's just a lot of different genres in there. Because I know when we were up at Lake Chelan together, you listened to a lot of reggae. That was kind of like the move right now. Okay. Are you listening to music on like your hikes, most likely?
On my what?
On your hikes.
Sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of the time, at least on the way up, usually I'm like, just like
taking it all in.
Want to enjoy it and listen.
Yeah.
And like hear the birds, hear the water, everything. So, yeah, but if it's like a long hike or if I'm like okay, I'm like in a place where I want to listen to music, then I'm like,
Yeah.
it'll
Like,
usually
especially
be-
up at the top, I imagine. Like, just
yeah,
kind of like
on my
enjoy
way
it.
back down, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, what got you, like, interested in music? Or, like, just, like, listening to, like, all these different genres, you know? Because there's probably most people are probably like, I don't really like that genre. I'm never going to listen to it. Or, like, you really like all these genres.
I have a really, like, just a really deep connection with music. Like, all my life, like, I love to sing. I love to, like, it's the appreciation of, like, certain rhythms, like, certain chord progressions. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, my gosh, that's a genius chord progression. Like,
Yeah.
most people wouldn't really think
Yeah.
that. They're like, oh, yeah, this is a good song. But I'm like, oh, that's this note plus this note on this, like, rhythm. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's genius.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me really appreciate it. And so when I hear a song, that's what I'm listening to. I'm not just
Okay.
I'm just like, okay.
Like, the lyrics don't mean as much,
right.
whereas, like,
the
it's
lyrics.
the rhythm and rhyme.
Yeah, like, all the time
as
I'll
a
listen
whole.
to a song, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good song. And then I'm like, here, like, listen to this song I
Yeah.
found. And then they're like, it's like the most inappropriate song. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't listen to the lyrics yet.
But it's just brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's auditorial art.
Exactly.
And
It's totally art.
there's a way that people can convey emotion, or there's a way that people convey, like, an experience. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. You know, like,
Yeah.
especially with, like, Kanye, who probably regarded as one of the better artists of our century, of our lifetime, in a way that is different than most. You know, you get a lot, especially, like, in the late 90s, who are, like, the music it just doesn't seem like as alive or as good today, but it's like I Will Survive, like, those songs. Like, it's catchy, but you don't really understand, like, the art form of it.
Yeah.
Like, and again, with the side of, like, it being an experience and being, like, an art form, like, take a song that's so exciting, for this instance with Kanye, like Power. Like, like, that song is so, like, that's, like, played at the beginning of, like, a football game, a basketball game, we're going to get pumped. Listen to the lyrics, and it's just, like, nothing related to that is, like, get off the couch, just start going. Like, that's, like, get motivated. It's, like, nothing at all. So it's, like, it's a really weird sense, and it's a really weird experience that, like, music gives, you know, whether that be, like, a melody that everyone knows is super iconic. Like, even, like, Imagine by John Lennon. I think it's by John Lennon. I don't really know. I feel
one that, like, so many people have sang.
Yeah, it's like the Olympics. They played at the past Olympics.
What? Okay.
I'm going to look it up. But that song, again, it, like, the message is way different than what we've come to terms of that song. You know, I really need to look this up.
That's fine.
I'm just going to look up Imagine John Lennon. Yeah, it's by John Lennon. Okay. I just want to make sure. I don't know. I don't know if he's passed. Has he passed? He has, right? Paul McCartney's still alive. I don't know. It's a really.
I feel like this is really bad that I don't.
You like the Beatles?
Yes.
Okay. Ringo Starr was in there. George Harrison, was that the other one?
I just listened to the music.
I
thought I made that clear.
This is true. You did make that clear. But it seems like your love for music is obviously, like, something that is so infectious, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just, like, I grew up, like, there's just this different, I don't know what other people feel when they listen to music. Like, I know that other people can feel the same thing as me, and, like, but, like, literally just, like, piano. Like, I grew up listening to my grandma and my brother play classical piano, and, like, literally just hearing it. Sometimes I'll drive for, like, my drive from Spokane to Leavenworth, like, it'll be, like, 3 hours, and I'll just listen to classical music.
Yeah.
Like, there's always that appreciation of just, like, literally every genre.
Yeah.
And, like, it just, like, is this deep breath for me. I'm like, oh, like, just listening to the notes, I'm like, gee, like, what?
Yeah, well, even then, like,
It's just,
I like
deep connection.
I like watching it visually, not like somebody playing it, but, you know, like those, like, piano tutorials of just like when the notes come down and then
Oh,
like it's like Guitar
yeah.
Hero type stuff like that. You're like, how the frick did they play all that? You know, like it looks so much at once, and you look at like maybe like sheet music of it. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but even then, like it's still moving. It's not like one, like bam.
Yeah.
It's like still moving, and you need to like adjust. And piano, I picked up in like my junior year of high school. And I just kind of like self-taught myself. I didn't know how to read the music, but I knew what the notes were and I knew what I was like looking at. Sheet music is still a little hard because viola, we have the alto and then they have the two different ones,
Yeah.
treble and bass clef. So like those are two different things, you know? So like I
Yeah.
had to like kind of like relearn and learn. And like even then when I'm playing like certain things, I'm like Beethoven's Sonata Number 3 is probably one of my favorite like classical pieces just because it's somewhat nostalgic. It feels weird because like most people probably don't know what I'm talking about. But it's just like
Yeah.
how it progresses. It's like a story, you know? And sonatas
Yeah.
are super long. So it's like 20 minutes of just playing, you know,
Yeah.
but like you could tell like it's like a movie score, it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like the most exciting thing, especially like, oh my gosh, since I'm like a YouTuber, blah blah blah, whatever that means. I like music is like something that we, you know, add as like a little spice. You know, it's like when you're cooking chicken, you put salt and pepper on it. That's
Mhm.
like base layer. You put like different things with like thyme or asparagus, like something that like adds to it. That's like music as a YouTuber. So it's really weird because like I'll listen to like music or like listen to like a song. Not a song. I'll listen to like watch, excuse me, like a YouTube video and I hear the music. I'm like, I know that song. I know
Yeah.
that song. And like and the same thing happens when I am looking at like fonts, like around like on posters. I'm like, I know that font. Like I know that
So
font.
funny.
You know, and I'm just like I have like a catalog of like 5,000 fonts. I just downloaded like this pack. And I didn't realize like I probably shouldn't have downloaded like all 5,000 because if I want to find like one that I really like, I have to look through my downloads and be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's the one. Go find it, blah, blah, blah. There's obviously like ones that I continually use and I favorite, but they're like, I want to like do something else. And I'm like, okay, here we go. All right, there's A's done. There's B's. And it's just so long. It just takes forever. And I look at all these posts and I'm like, I know that font. I'm like, I know that. This is Tuesday night. I actually don't know what this one is because I just downloaded it and I haven't used it since. But this is Tuesday night. That's like my signature, the TRJ for the Real Jeru. That's what I use. I guess you could have also said I put TRP, but like that's already right there, the TRP.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even
But the
think about
TRJ just makes sense. The Real Jared. It just
that.
works.
Yeah.
It's nice. I like it. It's fun.
Yes.
What time did you wake up? How much hours of sleep did you get last night?
I got good sleep last
Oh,
night.
really?
I went to bed at like 10:30.
Really?
I woke up at 7.
Wow. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah. I wish I could say. I was up late last
You're
night
"I
working
was
on
up
like a
at 2
video.
last
Yeah.
night."
I got to bed at like 12:30 and just like could not fall asleep. And then I got like on YouTube and I was like, oh, like I'll watch a few videos. Tried to fall asleep, didn't quite work, so it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. What's your like nightly routine? Do you just like turn off all phones and just go to bed?
It's so different every night because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm just always in a different place. I'm like
Especially
at home.
recently, yeah.
Yeah, I mean at home I just sleep in my hammock every night,
Yeah.
and I like can't. I don't know my phone. I can't have my phone in my hammock. I
Yeah.
like have to charge it like over here. I don't know.
So it's like always away from you.
I just
so-
like get ready for bed and then I'm usually tired. Like
Yeah.
I just really like sleep is like I just appreciate when I get it. But if I
Yeah.
can't sleep right now, I can't sleep right now.
Yeah.
But when I get it, I'll be ready for it.
Yeah, that's always a tough part for me recently where I am not like tired enough to go to bed. It's like 10 or like let's say 12. Like 12 to 8, 8 hours, 12 hits. I'm not tired. What do I do? Like what do you do? Like how do I just like I really would like to go to bed right now because I need to, but like I'm just not tired enough to actually go to bed.
Is there like something on your mind that you're
No,
thinking about?
no,
'Cause, like,
but
I
I'm-
just
No, but I'm
can't.
just awake. Like I'm like energized. Like let's go. Like I could be up for like the next 5 hours type thing. Like that's it. You know?
Like, sometimes I'll feel like that, and then I'm like, okay, like, it's sleep time now. And then I'm like, deep breath, and then I just, like, just pretend to be asleep till I fall asleep kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. And when usually like I'm like I'll close my eyes like this and I'll just be like that video idea would be so good. Like I'm like
So
trying to
there
plan
is
that out.
something on your mind.
Yeah, but like not in like a bad way.
No,
Like
no, no,
yeah,
no, it doesn't have
yeah,
to
I
be
get
on a bad
yeah.
way.
And I
But
was
if
always
your
like
mind is racing, then
yeah,
you're
and I'm just
nothing.
like even then like I think about it like during DoorDash I'm like wow, like maybe that video would would that work? I'm like how would I set that up? And I'm just like thinking about like all these little things. I'm like, "Oh, I could have done that better during the podcast. I could like do something like this. Like what about if I could get this guest?" It's like there's so many things happening all at once, and so like I keep this thing with me. I call it my like little I have a name for it. It's called the amazing
dandy notebook.
Yeah, it's called the Amazing Ideas of Jared Lynn Hathaway. And so I'm on page like 16 now, and I just have all these like
I don't
little
think
chickens.
you got my Blue's Clues reference.
Did anyone get her Blue's Clues reference?
I really hope so.
Your little notebook.
My handy dandy notebook.
Okay. I thought it was just like a saying, but I know what you're saying now. But even beyond that, like it's just like I write all these little things. Like I write like my to do list, like stuff for like this is page 8, questions for John Watkins. And then I just have like little to-dos here, like to-do subtitles on new video, promos video, episode 5. Learn about this. And it's just
I think
like
everyone should have one of those notebooks,
honestly, yeah.
I mean, mine is technically my phone, which is probably not the best, but I just have
Well,
like a
yeah.
little notes where I like.
I guess that's always like with you for the most
Yeah.
part, you know.
That's why.
Yeah. Well, even then, like we turn these into our credit cards or debit cards. You know, you double
Yes.
tap and
Literally
hit.
everything.
So like, I mean, your phone's typically always with you for some reasons. But even then, I just like write a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I just write like inspirational stuff. There's like no contest like anything unless like I write a header. Like one of these is like win the day, do what you have to so you could do the things that you want to, and then like 100K by the end of the year. And it's just like things that I'm writing down, like they're on my mind. And
empty your mind a little bit.
yeah, like just kind of like remember it or like be like, hey, I was at that point one time or, you know, and like today, like I just like wrote questions for you and just like little things like that and just like things that are on my mind. So I do this a lot when I'm door dashing. I'll usually read when I'm door dashing. Like I'll just like grab a book. If there's like a long wait, I'm just like grabbing a book. If there's a train, I'll just grab my book and just read, even if it's like a page or two.
Yeah.
In a train. DoorDash is so fun.
That's good.
Yeah, it's so fun. How do you like the creamery, the ice cream
Oh,
place?
West Milk ice cream. I like it. It's good. It's a good job to have, I feel like. I mean, no job is perfect and we have some problems, but
it's good for the
but
most part.
I like the people that I work with, and that's what really matters to me.
Yeah.
It's like I like the job and I like the people that I work with. Like we have fun at work, and I can like be friends with them and just like kind of tease and just like mess around. But also work and get the job done. Like job comes first. But then we're like, but then we also just mess around. Like we literally set up like cups with water and played water pong.
Oh yeah,
like,
and just like have
in
fun
the back in the kitchen at work. I was like, this is fun. Like just when it was slow.
Yeah.
Job first.
Yeah. You get to enjoy the job while also doing the job.
Yes, and it's good pay.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Good tips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got one more question for you, Julia.
Okay.
Who is Julia Armstrong?
Who is Julia Armstrong? What am I supposed to like give myself describing words?
Like a synopsis.
That's so hard.
I think it's important. I think it's important to identify who you are and like what you want to be and you know like what you're about.
I'm about getting to know people, listening to people, and then helping them, inspiring them, and then allowing them to inspire me. Literally anyone, not just good people, but also like I don't know. I'm just always working on how I can be better and how I can help people more, and just like I don't know, just always growing. I'm just on a growth mindset, I guess.
That's awesome.
I feel like
Well, and that's just what's on your mind right now.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like the focus. And again, like with a growth mindset, like you got to set like a little goal that ends up being a big goal, you know?
Yeah.
Just like these little stepping stones just each time. And even hearing like mind you, I got to like witness a lot of like who you are for the past 2 years. Even when we went to Chelan and went boat riding, you know, like those are just like memories and experiences. But like when we're in college and we're in class and we are, you know, like even with like your injuries, like I get to witness some tribulation in your life. I don't get to experience it, but I get to witness it. And that's like, it's a really cool thing to witness because you get to see like think about it like a relative you haven't seen in a long time. It's like, oh, I remember when you were 5.
Yeah.
And now you're like 20. You know, it's like,
up.
yeah,
I literally get that.
You're so grown up. And so it's like you never really get to experience from when you were at one point to another. You just simply see A and B, and it's about the journey. And especially when you are climbing a mountain, you know, you get to witness that journey. You may capture it for other people, but they don't know what that journey's like. And that's something that I don't know if many people are aware of, but it's really awesome to see how you embrace the moment and you embrace what you do.
That's like,
even if it feels like this may be an eternity, you know, you're still willing to take the steps and still willing to take every moment like it's the last time it's going to happen. And that is really awesome to see. And if there's one thing that anybody can take from this entire podcast episode 12, again, the banner right there, is to just live life in the moment. That is the most important part.
Motto.
Live life
Yes.
in the moment. That's the most important thing. That if one thing you take away from this podcast, just live life in the moment. It will make your life like that much better. Like
not that much better.
Like dynamites of
so
explosion. And it really is. And again, thank you so much for coming on, Julia. It's been an honor to obviously listen more about who you are, even though I know for the most part who you are. But obviously for them, my audience, the nationers, to witness who you are. That's going to be the end of the episode. Thank you guys. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like episode 12 of The Realest Podcast. Banner right there. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace. Peace.